Should the Detroit Lions trade for Myles Garrett?
Absolutely. The Detroit Lions should trade for Myles Garrett.
Yes. Will it happen?
Probably not.
Probably not. Don't know.
Yeah.
But should they? Without a doubt, yes. Well, I mean, what are we doing? I understand there's money involved, but the money can make sense.
You work the money out for a player like that.
$19 million this year after a trade. The Browns have to pay like $36 million dead cap for that to be the case, and that's what's most likely going to happen. They're going to have to restructure some stuff on their side too, because they guaranteed everything for Deshaun Watson. They got Tyler Conklin and a few other guys too. You can afford that. Not $19 million for a Hall of Fame edge rusher. You absolutely can afford that. And here's the thing with all these deals. We talk about it all the time too, by the way. When you re-sign a guy, such as Aiden Hutchinson, who's going to get a deal here soon, such as Kirby Joseph is going to get a deal here soon, the big money doesn't hit until that third year. You can afford Myles Garrett for those first 2 years. It's 19 the first year and 25 the second, if I'm not mistaken. That is extremely affordable. Once again, let me repeat it. For a Hall of Fame edge rusher, you're putting on the same defensive line as Aiden Hutchinson. Oh, look at all the injuries that happened last year. Don't care.
Yeah.
That was freak scenario that will not happen again. I would almost bet my house that would have happened again. That's just not normal. 15 plus injuries for your starters is insanity. You have 11 stars on the defense alone. That's insane. That's not going to happen again. If you can, for the right price, which I believe is around like first two first round picks, yeah, I'm doing it.
Yeah, you leave the money and the contracts and all that stuff to the nerds in the front office. Like
nerds,
you go out there and you find that fucking dog. And if Myles Garrett is up for, if he's on the block, if Myles Garrett is being moved, you should absolutely throw your name in the ring.
Yeah.
This is something that could win you a Super Bowl. This is a move that could win you a Super Bowl. And if it comes to losing, and I hate to say this, but names like Kirby Joseph, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta to get Myles Garrett and Aiden Hutchinson, I'm doing it.
What names again?
Guys like Jameson Williams, Kirby Joseph, Sam Laporta. If you have to lose one of those guys to get Myles Garrett opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, I'm fucking doing it. And this is something that would set you up as the Super Bowl favorite for as long as you have Myles Garrett and Aiden Hutchinson together. Obviously, we know they have the cap space to do it right now, to fit his contract right now on this team. Yeah. Obviously, we know those guys I mentioned aren't needing new contracts until Myles Garrett's contract right now would be up. So the money lines up for the time being. Obviously, he's going to want an extension. He's going to want to get more money. We'll see what happens there, but this is something that, you should absolutely do. Do I expect them to do it? Do I think it's going to happen? No, probably not. I could see him going, I don't know, because he said he wants to win too. Because I'm like, I can see him going to the Patriots. That would make the most sense because they have a gazillion dollars. But he said he wants to win. He wants to go to a championship organization, or a team that's ready to win a championship. And the Lions are one of the few teams in the NFL that is ready to win a championship and has the money to accept a contract that Myles Garrett is on right now. So they're the betting favorite right now to land him. Like they're like plus 350 to land him, which is better than any other team. And that is based on who they are as a team, what they need as a team. Brad Holmes already calling and asking about him and them having the money to be able to do it. Again, like, do I think it's going to happen? No, probably not. But they should do everything they can. You do everything you can, anything possible to make Myles Garrett a Detroit Lion.
And I'm telling you, it's very possible too. Like, there's two things off for it. He's not getting traded to the FC. They're not. If they get a return that bounces them back, and you're like a Detroit Lions situation, you don't have to face Myles Garrett, whatever stack team you traded him to, on your ascent. That's just, he's not going to the AFC. One, your favor there too. Secondly, he says he wants to contend for a Super Bowl. Everything that I know about Myles Garrett, he's a man of his word. He's not money. They can't just throw money at that and make it go away. He wants to go and contend for a Super Bowl. Detroit Lions are within that window right now.
Yeah.
And putting them on the same line as Aiden Hutchinson would be fucking filthy. It can happen. I think Brad calls.
The writing's Brad is definitely going to.
He's definitely going to make the phone call.
He's going to do his due diligence.
They got to do some math in first, though. I got to respect Hutch's contract. Like this ain't going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
This is just made up on Super Bowl weekend because it's the biggest news, right? But once Hutch gets re-signed, maybe Kirby, maybe even J-Mo. I know I made the bet with whoever in the chat. Then maybe this falls in line. But we got to do some math in our end first.
Yeah.
And then, probably a possibility could.
Well, fellas, After you, Chris, my bad.
No, you're good. Go.
Fellas, nobody thought that Stafford deal was going down either.
Yeah.
You know, like that happened similar time. Like when the iron's hot, you know, you got to strike when it's hot. All right, fellas, two things. This 100% shrinks the window for the Lions if they go out and do this deal. But it makes that window, like, you are by far the favorite if you have Myles Garrett and Aiden Hutchinson. I think you're above Kansas City at that point because I think it's two of the top 5 defenders in the NFL. Like, that's what you're looking at. And we talk about going up against a Mahomes all the time, a Josh Allen, a Lamar Jackson. When you ultimately do get to the Super Bowl, you need the disruptors on the defensive line. This takes it from, you know, being a cute story in your defense barely hanging on to literally having a top 5 defense. Like, you're going to cause turnovers, get sacks, and be able to put pressure on those elite quarterbacks where you're winning the Super Bowl. Ultimately, I think you do everything in your power to actually go out and get Garrett.
And I think it's a little more likely than we're kind of going into. I'm not saying it's happening, but I do think there is a little more credence than we would expect because this is a home run swing, yes. But Brad Holmes called, and he sounded frustrated in that quote where he said, I tried to get a DN. That was the hardest thing I've ever had to do as a GM. So I imagine that when he was calling about Myles Garrett, who wasn't available at that time, Max Crosby, who wasn't available at that time, that he was frustrated by not being able to get one. So that shows that he has a desire because he knows the appetite. He knows what it takes to get a player of that caliber, and he showed the appetite this season to get one. So I will say I'm not putting my chips on it happening, but I do think there is a little more credence than just the pipe dream that it may seem like today as we're looking at Myles Garrett falling into our laps.
And listen, motherfuckers in the chat were already saying, oh, we're not going to sign all these guys. We're not going to be able to keep all these guys.
Correct.
So if you already weren't going to be able to, I would absolutely add Myles Garrett for the 2 years you still have all of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And even in that scenario, too, like, with all due respect to everybody that's been a part of, like, the most successful Detroit Lions team I've ever seen in my life.
He'd be the third or fourth best player on your team.
Yeah. And the guys that you're not going to be able to keep, they become assets. They become that Myles Garrett situation. Like, okay, you may have given up two first-round picks, so get them. But you may get a couple first-round picks or a first-round pick in return for Jameson Williams. Whoever it may be. That's
Sam
just the name
Laporta,
I said.
You guys know the names. The guys that haven't signed their contracts yet. Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta. Obviously, we think Gibbs is one they're going to keep for sure. Yeah. Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, those are the guys.
I think another year on Laporta, too, because he's part of Gibbs' class.
All of them have more time.
Yeah. And that's the real situation, too. Like, you don't even got to necessarily make any moves because, technically, they all are under contract.
I'd absolutely do it.
But to make more, and I'm reading this article by Justin, 19 and then 20 is actually like the cap hits, even better. I said 25. It's very doable. It can happen. And I believe, Brad, at the end of the day, if it is 2 firsts, is the asking price.
You do it.
Yeah.
You do it 100%.
You went and grabbed Terrion Arnold for a first and a third. And I get it was a draft pick. You're moving up in the draft. You knew who you were drafting when you made that move. At the end of the day, you still gave up a first round and a third round pick for the unknown. Why not give up what's going to be a back half of the draft regardless either way you look at it? 2 of those first round picks, maybe one being pick 32 if you make this trade. For a fucking bona fide Hall of Famer, defensive player of the year caliber defensive end. Who plays a run and sacks the fuck out of the quarterback. There's only been one season, I think his rookie year, we didn't have double-digit sacks.
I can say with pretty much 100% sincerity that the next 2 years where the Lions are going to be drafting in the first round, you won't get a player better than Myles Garrett. So, obviously you're going to call. You're going to figure out what it would take. And if it's there, you do it, and then you figure out who's staying and who's going afterwards. Yeah. After Myles Garrett walks through the door. Because, like I said, it automatically makes you the favorite for the Super Bowl, and it wouldn't be close.
Mark says, would you guys rather trade 2 firsts over losing guys on our team? Absolutely. And to be honest with you, I don't think we would lose any guys on our team because I talked about it. They would have to do some money rearranging on their end anyway. Yeah. I don't think they're accepting or going to want any players because they can't afford them. The Browns fucked themselves with the Deshaun Watson contract.
And look at the Rams. Look at what the Rams are doing. Look what they did and where they are now. They sold out, fucked them picks, got rid of picks. They didn't have a first-round pick for like 5 years. Mm-hmm. And they're still in the playoffs. And their defensive line, I think we all love their defensive line.
Yeah.
Those are all guys they drafted. Byron Young, Jared Verse, Fisk, all of those guys. Kobe, whatever.
Turner. Yeah.
Kobe Turner. Yeah. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe
in Joe. He got a pop in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
by the
Joe
way.
Hendry's the
Shout out to
man.
Hendry.
I believe in
I show speed.
Brad
there, too.
Holmes and the Detroit Lions, if they do this, to move around and to do enough moves to keep this team afloat. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I have 100% faith. I want to pose a question to you guys, and it's, if other teams are giving out 2 firsts, we're going to be at the bottom of the list because we're later in the draft here, fellas. If you do have to sweeten it, 2 firsts and a second, maybe even 3 firsts, are you still willing to do it?
Yes.
Because
I'm sprinkling one of those comp picks, or at least my third, because I know I have that comp pick. Because this year and next year, yeah. And to be honest with you, Nick, like, I guess it depends on his definition of contender. Is he looking at the Chicago Bears on the rise or something like that? Like, is he looking at those contenders? Maybe, but true contenders, Lions, Commanders, and again, I'm only talking NFC because there's no way they're trading with the AFC.
Yeah.
They're going to be back half picks anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to contend for Super Bowl, you want to go to a contender. All those picks are going to be 25 and down, or 25 and up, I should say.
I feel like Jerry would do some crazy shit to try to get Myles Garrett and pair him with Micah Parsons to try to save Dallas. I just feel like Jerry would be doing some reckless shit. I don't know. Maybe that's just
Cowboys
quick
could
thought.
be in
Watch
there.
out for Cowboys.
Just fucking, he does
He's a Texas guy.
big men
Is he?
with big men parts
Oh, God.
Yeah, if you saw the picture that Bussin' with the Boys put out there
of Myles
of
Garrett.
Myles Garrett, definitely on Jerry Jones' radar.
Yeah, for sure on Jerry Jones' radar.